Imagine discovering that your child is a victim of school bullying and the bully is stealing her lunch every day. Such a revelation can shake you to your core, making you question the safety and happiness of your little one in a place that's meant to be a sanctuary of learning and growth. The protagonist of our story, let's call him John, found himself in this very situation. A loving father, he was thrown into a whirlwind of emotions when his daughter, Amy, opened up about her ordeal. Amy, a bright and cheerful girl, suddenly seemed to lose her spark. She was coming home hungry and upset, her lunchbox untouched. At first, John and his wife thought Amy was just being picky about her food. But soon, the truth surfaced. Amy was being bullied at school, and her lunch was being stolen every day. The bully, a notorious kid in Amy's class, had made a habit of snatching Amy's lunchbox, leaving her hungry and humiliated. The realization hit John like a ton of bricks. His heart ached for Amy, and he felt a surge of anger towards the bully. This wasn't just about stolen lunches anymore. It was about his daughter's self-esteem, her happiness, and her right to a safe and respectful environment at school. John felt a sense of helplessness wash over him. But as the initial shock subsided, he realized that anger and despair wouldn't solve the problem. What he needed was a plan, a strategy to deal with the bully. He was a parent, after all, and it was his responsibility to protect his child. The line between tolerance and action had been crossed, and it was time for a strategic plan. What would you do if you were in my shoes? Would you confront the bully, or would you take a different approach? Now, as much as I wanted to march up to that school and give that bully a piece of my mind, I realized that might not be the best solution. It could just escalate things and make it worse for my daughter. So I decided to take a different route. A route that would hopefully teach this bully a lesson they wouldn't be quick to forget. I started to mull over my options, brainstorming ideas that weren't too harsh, but would still get the message across. Then it hit me. What if I could give the bully a taste of their own medicine, but in a harmless, albeit embarrassing way? What if, instead of having my daughter's lunch stolen, the bully would be the one facing an uncomfortable situation? The idea was simple, yet effective. I would lace the bully's food with laxatives. Now, I know what you're thinking. Isn't that a bit extreme? But remember, this was a desperate measure for a desperate situation. I wasn't trying to harm the bully, just give them a bit of discomfort, perhaps enough to make them think twice before bullying anyone again. I began to formulate my plan. I would prepare a special lunch for my daughter, one that would look particularly appetizing to the bully, a lunch that the bully wouldn't be able to resist stealing. And in that lunch, I would mix in the laxatives. It was a foolproof plan, or so I thought. As I set my plan into motion, I couldn't help but feel a mix of apprehension and excitement. I was nervous about the potential repercussions, but I was hopeful that this could put an end to my daughter's torment. A plan was set in motion, one that would hopefully put an end to this bullying once and for all. The day had come, the plan was ready to be executed. There was a certain thrill in the air, a palpable anticipation. The protagonist, a loving parent pushed to the brink, had decided to take a stand. With a dash of creativity and a pinch of mischief, they had prepared a special lunch for their daughter. The lunch was ordinary in appearance, a sandwich, an apple, a juice box, what you'd typically find in a school lunch. But the sandwich held a secret. It was laced with laxatives, the kind that worked swiftly and efficiently. The protagonist had taken great care to ensure that the taste of the laxatives was hidden. A bit of extra mayo here, a slice of cheese there. The sandwich looked innocent enough, but it was a trap, a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. Having prepared this special lunch, the protagonist then sat down with their daughter. They explained the plan in hushed tones, making sure she understood the gravity of the situation. The daughter was instructed to let the bully steal her lunch as usual, maintaining an air of normalcy. She was told not to let on about the surprise that awaited the bully. This was a tricky part of the plan. The daughter had to play her part perfectly. She had to act as if nothing was different, as if it was just another day. The protagonist knew it was a lot to ask of a child, but they also knew that their daughter was brave, that she was ready to stand up to the bully. The protagonist watched as the daughter tucked the special lunch into her school bag. There was a sense of uncertainty, of worry. They knew they were taking a risk, yet they also knew that sometimes you had to fight fire with fire. With a heavy heart, the daughter left for school, carrying the special lunch. It was a day of reckoning, a day that would teach the bully a lesson they'd never forget. The hours after sending my daughter to school with the special lunch were the longest. Each tick of the clock seemed to mock me, a blend of worry, anticipation, and a strange sense of satisfaction playing a symphony in my head. I couldn't shake off the image of the bully's face, the moment of reckoning that was bound to happen. There was a part of me that was anxious, wondering if this was the right thing to do. This was not a typical day at work. My mind kept drifting back to my daughter, the school, the bully, and that special lunch. I couldn't help but imagine the chain of events that might be unfolding at the school. Finally, the school day ended. The wait was over. My heart pounded as I spotted my daughter's familiar figure approaching. Her face was a canvas of emotions, a mixture of relief and suppressed giggles. The bully, she reported, had indeed stolen her lunch. But this time, the bully's lunchtime conquest had taken an unexpected turn. As the story unfolded, I found myself torn between laughter and a sense of justice. Apparently, the bully had a bathroom emergency later in the day. Of course, no one knew why, but the school was abuzz with the bully's sudden and unfortunate predicament. The bully, once a feared figure, had become the subject of schoolyard whispers and giggles. The tables had turned, and my daughter, once a victim, had become a silent hero. The aftermath of the special lunch was more than I could have hoped for. It was a small victory, but a victory nonetheless. The bully had been served a taste of their own medicine, quite literally. It was a lesson learned in the most unforgettable way. The bully's reign of terror had been disrupted, at least for a while. Despite the circumstances, a sense of relief washed over me, knowing the bully had learned a lesson. Some might say the methods were extreme, but desperate times call for desperate measures. In the grand scheme of things, the consequences of these actions were far-reaching, yet necessary. The bully, who had tormented countless children, ceased his lunch-stealing escapades. No longer did children have to worry about their food disappearing when they weren't looking, or the fear of an empty stomach gnawing at them throughout the school day. The incident didn't just stop at the bully's reformation, though. It served as a wake-up call to the school administration. They came to understand the severity of the bullying issue that had been lurking under their noses, festering in the shadows of the school corridors. This realization led to the implementation of stricter regulations against such behavior. Zero tolerance became the new mantra, and the school took a firm stand against bullying. But it didn't stop there. The school also initiated awareness programs, opening up discussions about bullying, its impacts, and the importance of speaking up. Students were encouraged to stand against bullying, to support their peers, and to foster an environment of respect and empathy. As for the protagonist and their daughter, this incident was a turning point. It gave them a chance to reflect, to discuss, and to understand. They realized that bullying is a menace that should never be tolerated. It's a destructive force that can cause immense harm, both physically and emotionally. It's a battle that needs to be fought, not just by the victims, but by everyone around them. The incident also taught them the importance of standing up for oneself and for others. It highlighted the fact that sometimes unconventional methods may be required to tackle such issues.